Like I say, good afternoon to all the brothers and sisters in social media land. Like I say, shalom, shalom to all our Israelite brothers, shalom alaikum to our Islamic brothers. And like I say, peace and grace be unto you to all of our Christian brothers, to all our brothers that are not a part of no type of religiosity or no religious constructs. We like to say good afternoon to you today. And we just out in the neighborhood. We was telling you, we told you a couple of days that we was going to go through the neighborhood. We're going to start piquing the minds and piquing the brains of some of our brothers in the neighborhood and see what their mindset is as far as community status go, even some of these things that's taking place right now. So I told y'all about our young brother, Carlos Colston. There he is right
What's
there.
Up?
There's Carlos.
YouTube land.
Yeah, y'all might remember Carlos from, Carlos was a significant part of the 27th and Walden Park cleanup in that community event. And so he has some valuable things to share during that time, and I wanted to bring him back on. For the brothers and sisters, no matter where you at, in your city, in your state, wherever you at, you know what, you're going to have to put your hand to the plow. Whatever you can find your hand to do, you got to get it done. And you talking about exemplifying righteousness in this wicked world that we living in. It got to start somewhere, you see. So we just gonna chop it up and just right off the brain, whatever direction that the wind blow in, that's the direction that we gonna go in. So we're gonna peek Carlos Colston's brain and see we're gonna let him lead the way on wherever it is that he want to go. What is it you want to chop it up on, Mr. Colston?
I want to thank everybody for tuning in. You know, brothers and sisters out there, you know, it's a beautiful day out here in Kansas City. We just sitting here chopping it up, just thinking about some things that we can do since our last visit, you know, when we had our little block cleanup and our little block party type of demonstration that we had. I felt that went pretty well, so we're looking to do something else. And so my main thing right now, what's been concerning me here lately is, you know, the riots and the coronavirus and things like that. To me, as far as the coronavirus goes, people just please be safe, because I don't know, you know, we don't really know what's going on out here. So my thing is just to be safe, but I do feel like this is some type of cloud of smoke, if you will, for something that's bigger on the back burner. People say people are conspiracy theorists and things like that. I've been called that before, but you know, I don't think that's what it is. I have the gift of vision, so that's something that I've been blessed with. So not really that I can predict the future or see the future, different things like that, but I can kind of see things in the direction that they're going, and I can see people, I can see things, and all those types of things for what they were. So I'm definitely a good judge of character when it comes to that. So, and my word is my bond. So I do my own research, I study, I look stuff up. You know, that's what you have to do. You know, you have to dig deep and, you know, dig deep into your soul and see what's going on around you. And so back to the coronavirus, what I mean by that is that, you know, people are dying, and they really don't even know what's going on. But my personal opinion on that is that something bigger got out of control that they weren't able to handle. And so to me, what's going on is the biggest money transfer in American history. We have the riots going on. This is the time when companies, the bigger major corporations, are making all the money, and small businesses, people like, you know, me and you, or people that's out here, you know, doing their own thing, they're not making no money at all. So it's kind of hard for people to make money right now. So my focus is people have to get ready for the crash of the American dollar. The dollar is going away. My feel on that is that everything is going to go to digital currency. If you don't believe me, like I said, do your own research. Look up Agenda 2030. There's some things that have to take place within 10 years that they've already been working on for years, and that people don't even realize what they're doing. Mm-hmm. You know, they're planning on eradicating illnesses and things such as cancer, diabetes. Now, how can they eradicate that within 10 years? Do you mean to tell me that you already had the cure is already available, and you were just using the masses of the people to, you know, to pursue your agendas? See, those are the types of things that I think about, because those are the things that I think about when I go to sleep at night, because there's definitely something major going on. And as far as the riots are concerned, I love the fact that people are coming together. Our brothers and sisters from all races are coming together, standing up for one cause, because we're all in this together. We are all in this together. At the end of the day, when the shit hits the fan, whether you're white or black, if you're not in that top 1% of people, the wealth that runs the world, you're going to be just like everybody else. And that's what I mean by Agenda 2030, because they're trying to get everybody on an equal playing field, equality for everybody. That means level playing field for everybody. So
Right.
they're trying to move. I see it. They're moving. The suburbs are going away. The rural areas are going away. They're moving everybody into the cities, and people don't really realize that something's going on. You know, we have these fires, earthquakes, hurricanes, all these different types of things going on, and been forcing people out of their homes. You know, and people can't afford to pay for nothing right now. So it's
Yeah.
pretty tough.
And you know what? My brother Colson, one of the things, one of the things that I'm looking at is something. Now, I am my perspective, and I identify with that visionary issue. You know, the Bible have a word for that.
Yeah, they do.
It's called discernment.
That's right.
It's the ability to see things. You know what I mean? That are beyond, you know, what your physical eyes show you. But I say, you know, you have a scripture that says, Revelation chapter 13 and 10 says, "He that leads into slavery or captivity shall himself go into slavery or captivity." And I'm trying to tell brothers and sisters is that what they witnessing, it is a power shift. But what they witnessing is they're witnessing a people that brought another people into slavery now going into slavery up under the guise of the monetary system as they lose their jobs and as they lose their wealth. You
That's
understand what I'm saying? They are going into a form of slavery. Now, we'll deal with anything. We've been impoverished our whole life. You know, one of the things I try to get our people to understand is this, is if the power change hands in this world right now, if the transfer of power changed hands from those that once had what they call white privilege, and the power changed hands into the hands of the one that used to be a slave, because we ain't in the field no more. We educated, we are responsible for running the bulk of the things in this country, and so if that happened right now, do you think that we as a people would be ready to assume rulership in the way that they have?
No.
See, that's
I don't think so.
So if that be the case, there is where our focus have to remain, because our people's mindset had to be translated from where it's at to where it need to be.
That's right.
You see what I'm saying? And all of these things are different ways that, you know, some people say God, some people say something told me, but you know what? In my mind, I say that the Most High is helping us out by bringing those brothers and sisters, those European brothers and sisters that are coming to realize that they've been lied to.
That's right.
Now they're joining themselves
That's
to the
right.
one that have been disenfranchised, and they are helping. They are now. That is, I think that's one of the ways that the Most High is helping.
That's right.
People are forgotten about, people, disenfranchised people, people that always thought that they was less than. I think that these movements that's happening right now, they are helping our people to have a sense of self-worth and empowerment.
That's right.
Now, we know that if those Europeans were not in the crowd, there wouldn't be no protests.
No. Military, police, state police,
You know what I'm saying?
all kinds of things will be going on right now.
You know what I mean?
But, you know, back to the point that you made about people coming together like that, and see, that's what I mean, because there's a bigger picture now. Now, if you have these multitudes of different races of people coming together, something triggered that. It's something else that they see that they know that's not going on, because they created this separation between white and black. This is
Right.
not how
It's an
the
illusion.
man upstairs made it. We were a together people. We are built on energy and
Right.
love and emotion. That's how we thrive. And they took that away from us. They took that away from us when they ripped our families apart. You see all these families, these mothers, these mothers out here, single mothers taking care of all these kids. They don't want the dads involved. They want to see the black man in jail. So when you see this multitude of people like that, it's time for people to come together, because something major is about to happen. This should be a wake-up call for everybody.
It
So
is.
when I said when the shit hits the fan, it's not about white and a black. It's about who has the money. Okay, because they don't care if you white or black. The higher echelon
They
does not
don't.
care. They don't care. You're going to be considered just like everybody else. You're going to be poor just like everybody else. They're going to close the banks down. You're not going to be able to withdraw your money. Things are going to get ugly. So people need to prepare for that and see that that's what's coming.
And you know what? And you're absolutely right. Because one of the things that we try to get brothers and sisters to understand, even looking through the lens of this so-called COVID-19, Okay, you have to first off use common sense. But then I heard one of our brothers say, he said, but you got to remember this, Elder. He said, common sense ain't common, so everybody don't have it. But you use common sense, and we did a thing, a video the other day, showing how the people. You have different fronts. Now you know what it means to be fronting.
That's right.
What you fronting for?
Yeah.
You know, to be
Yeah.
fronting is,
Yeah.
you know what I'm saying?
Right.
Hold on, let me reject this. Let me knock this phone call down right quick. Let me knock this phone call down right quick.
Yeah, we were saying fronting back in the 80s. I mean, that's how long people have been
So
fronting,
what
but it
did
goes
front
even...
mean? What did it mean to be fronting?
To me, it meant that somebody was pretending to be something that
See,
they
that was
wasn't.
faking. So we did a video where it was talking about how the psychology of the wicked, how they said that through their many fronts they would accomplish the mission of bringing the people of the world under extreme circumstances. And one of the fronts
Control.
that they would use is doctors
Yes.
and the hospital.
Yes.
You see, because the Center for Disease Control and those people. And I said to myself, so it's like these are the people that's promoting this COVID-19. Right. You see, these same doctors, when you look at a TV commercial, every TV commercial that come on through the midst of you watching a movie is a pharmaceutical commercial. And so it tells you, well, okay, well, this is good for you. This will help your sickness, but then underlying is like, but be careful.
The side effects.
Yeah, here's 10 different things.
Worse than what you taking a pill for.
Yeah. So what them people said is that they will come to us. We will promise them a cure, and they will come to us, and we will feed them more poisons. But the thing I was trying to get people to understand is that who's going to be the one that's doing the feeding? Who's going to be the one that's going to be injecting the vaccines?
The military.
It's
already been.
But it's going to be the doctors that are doing it.
I didn't mean to cut you off, but they were already talking about that. Like you were talking about the Centers for Disease Control and Dr. Fauci, the doctor. I mean, they put him in office because he's supposed to be the spokesman for all of us. So what he says is supposed to go, but. He's also, or they're also, the politicians and the politics are pushing a unified vaccine for everybody that's going to be mandated in the near future before you go to work, school, travel out of the country, or do anything.
So you know what it is? What it really is, it's a pretext to prophecy in the Bible where it says in the beast, he causes all, both rich, poor, free, and bond, to worship him, and he makes them all receive a mark in their right hand or their forehand, lest no man can buy or sell. So what you see is pretexts going out. It's not the actual thing, but it is ushering people in.
That's right.
To be ready to receive these things,
right.
Because when they challenge you with a vaccine and say, hey, look, you know what, you can't go to work if you're not compliant with this new company policy by such and such date, then you might as well be prepared to find another job. There are many people that's going to comply because first thing they're going to think about is how I'm going to feed my family, how I'm going to do this, how I'm going to do it. But there are going to be many people that have eyes to see, such as yourself, that will say, hey, you know what? If I got to dig a ditch with a spoon to feed my family, that's what I'm going to do. So you're not going to comply. But they're going to use these pretexts as a means to be able to see where people at.
That's right.
In their thinking.
That's right. And
because this is what's actually coming.
And that's exactly what my point was. As I was trying to make that, it's like a big smoke screen for something else. Even though these things happens daily, they kill black men every day. I mean, I'm sure there's black men being killed. They don't even talk about majority of them that have been killed. It's just at that one instance. But so many people are tired of that. They're ready. They're killing everybody. It's not white against black. It's the darkness against the light. They made it to where it's me against you, but it's not me against you.
Right.
You know what I mean? It's the evil spirits and the good spirits of this world that we don't see, that are dictating what we do every day, and people need to wake up on that.
Yeah. So and I'm gonna say to myself, so one of the things that literally terrifies me is that when you look at the condition or the mindset of not just the young people, But when you look at the mindset of a nice portion of our people, you know, you got to just sit down and say, damn, what can I do?
Yes.
What can I do to help? You know what I'm saying? Because you know what? You like ridicule. It's like when we went over there a minute ago. It's like, oh, you one of them Muslim dudes?
Yeah.
I say, oh no. It's always some sarcasm or some ridicule when people really need to be being serious.
That's
right
right.
now. When we look at our youth, our young men, our young women, their minds are nowhere in the vicinity of these things that's taking place. So
They're not even paying attention.
I'm just trying to figure out, man, what is it that we can do to try and get our people, you know, in the right place where their thinking is concerned.
Well, we need. I know for me, my perspective on that, especially in the community that we grew up, you know, we had the older people in the neighborhood, you know, the grandparents and the older people that were kind of guiding us and leading us. But you know, we've lost our leaders through assassinations and through killings and through coup d'etats, you know, things like that where they take over. Mm-hmm. And so black leaders, I feel to me, are scared to take that step out and put themselves out into the world like that because of the ramifications that might come if they start gathering large crowds of black people for a cause. To them, that's being terrorists. They consider that terrorism. So we have to find a way that where we can do that in a lawful way to whereas we can get our word across, and you know, because we got to get these young people on board because this is our future. Mm-hmm. I mean, if this is what the future looks like for my kids that I have to live through, then I don't want to be a part of it.
That's why I said, look here, man, this time right here, this is getting wickeder and wickeder by the moment. But here's the thing that shocked the life out of you. This is treacherous time to you.
Yes.
But it's normal for your children.
Yes.
And so, if what's normal for them, damn, I wonder what it's going to be like when in their minds they saying this world is getting wicked.
See what I'm saying?
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I'm
That's
like,
exactly what
go and kill me now.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Get me out of here. Because this is ridiculous. So I don't know what we're going to have to do. I mean, especially with this coronavirus. That's what I'm saying. So basically what they did since March, all kids stay home. So they can't go to school. Even though school to me is a big lie. All the things that you were taught as far as history goes and things like that, those things are subject to, you know, your own investigation. But during my own investigation, I found out that a lot of that stuff, you know, was a farce. They were programming me to be a slave in this system that they created.
That's right.
And so they tell you to learn what they want you to learn. So, but back to the kids though. I mean, kids are going crazy. First of all, they were already experiencing things in this world because it's changing, you know, with the drugs, I mean, opioids, and I mean, the kids are, I mean, these teenagers these days, I mean, they're snorting, they're drinking syrup, they're smoking weed, they're doing all this shit at the same time. Mm-hmm. When we were growing up, we didn't do that. We maybe smoked a little weed, you know, did our little, you know, drank a little bit, did our little thing, but drugs wasn't prevalent in our community like it is now. And so that's when, to me, the war on drugs, that meant put drugs back in the streets.
Right.
Because the war on drugs did not work. I don't see, they were just locking people up, giving them longer prison sentences. And so that didn't do anything to help. So basically these kids are now just out here, can't go to school, can't go to any recreational facilities to work out, can barely go outside. I mean, it's tough. I mean, and the parents, this is a crisis. Because parents that are not used to being home with their kids, or families that are not used to being home with their kids, now they have to experience how to become family people and learn how to coexist with their significant other and their children. So it's tough out here.
So let me ask you another question, because you ain't no stranger, I ain't no stranger. We grown now. So
right.
What type of role do you think, or what is your viewpoint of the Christian church, or what is your viewpoint of the church's role in the community, and how do you feel like that role have been played out versus when we were young up until this time?
Oh, okay.
Yeah.
So to me, the church has become more commercial. It's more of a business now. It's more of give, but nobody's giving back to the community. So I understand that the pastors in the churches, they have to do these collections and tithes and offerings, and people do that, you know, willingly. But All right, now, but giving back to the community, I have not seen it because we're bombarded by churches around here, and
They're
they,
pretty much the only black-owned businesses.
yes, yes, the churches are making all the money, and so, but they're not giving back to the community, at least not what I can see. And I grew up around here. I mean, I'm 53. And so, but back in the day, we had churches that cared. I couldn't wait to go to church with my grandmother on Sunday morning because I know they were going to have, maybe an Easter service, or there was going to be some food. There's going to be other kids. There's somebody I can intermingle with that's trying to be on the same page that I was when I was a kid. But kids, you don't hear about that anymore. But to me, the church has gone away. It's like a war against any religion. It's like all religions are at war with each other, in a sense, because they want to be the dominant religion. But when push comes to shove, it's still one almighty, you know what I mean? And everybody's going to die, so keep that in mind. And so your wickedness, and the reason why I say that is because your wickedness and the things that you do, I mean, everybody has a chance to repent and be saved. But when you hear those horns blowing and you're doing all this devilish stuff and you done sold your soul to the devil for your riches and to be glorified so people can, bow down to you, you're going to be doomed. They set you up too. And the movie stars, the singers, the rappers, and they know this. I've seen stuff where they actually, admitted to selling their soul to the devil just for their stardom and fame. But it's going to come a day when you're going to have to answer to that. And so they can't save you from that. So you just have to prepare yourself and just nobody's perfect. But I know I'm not perfect. I don't go around and, publicize the type of person how I, do my Christian beliefs and do things like that because I am a Christian. So, but it's kind of shunned me away from going to the church because of some of the things that are happening. And I've heard from other people. People are leaving churches. People are just being at home doing their own Bible study. They're taking it upon themselves to find their own religion and understanding and education on that subject. So yeah, to me, it's went away.
I think that people are being. I think that this COVID-19 thing did two things where the church is concerned. It shows that the church is ruled by the government.
Yeah, and the Vatican.
And they have to comply to the laws of this land.
That's right.
And so that's why all of the doors was closed. Another thing that is showed, and this is not to be meant in offense to none of the brothers, for we respect all of our brothers that seek to go into maybe pastoral work or whatever it is, if you have a genuine motive. But there are some things that don't sit well, because you can't tell a lot of these people that's in leadership nothing. So here's another thing, and this is the most significant thing that I seen, is that I say to myself, if I was a pastor of any church, there is no way possible that I would close my door. And I say that this is God's house. This is the place to where people that don't have hope need to be able to come and get it. Even if people get sick and they don't trust the doctors and all that, this is the people where, the Bible told you, you know what, if any sick among you, call the elders of the church and let them lay on hands and pray the prayer of faith, and then you should receive from the Most High. And so I just did not identify with that issue of all of these churches closing their doors at a time that people was out of work, at a time that people are afraid and frantic. And then on top of that, to see people coming out and still begging and asking their people to send their tithes through PayPal or Cash App or something like that. You're talking about people that been out of work, ain't got no jobs. You would think you'd be checking on to see if they all right, if they got enough food to sustain them till they go back to work.
A pastor,
again,
a preacher, a reverend, a community group, a community organization. None of those people have checked anything out.
Which brings me to the next thing, because what we're doing is we're systematically stair-stepping through each one of these entities that's supposed to represent God's people on the earth. So when we go to, like you said, to the community organizers, you see sometimes you got community activists, but the only time I ever see any community activists is when them little suckers want to get their face on the news or something like that, but you don't see them. So let me ask you, if you had anything to say to some of your elected city officials that are representing these districts, such as this district, because this district right here, this park
district
right here
sucks.
on 27th and Warren, this park right here is in a district that there's money allocated to these districts every year, but yet people had to get together and they had to come out here and do this. You know what I'm saying? Even though that it was one brother, I do believe that from my understanding, this was not his district.
Right.
He's a councilman, but
Brandon
this
Ellington.
was not his district. But he sought to send some people down here to give a hand once he got wind of what was happening. What's his name again?
His name is Brandon Ellington.
And so for that brother right there, we would want to commend him. I don't personally know Brandon Ellington, but I was speaking to a sister, an employer of mine on yesterday. Her name is Miss Karis, and she had mentioned that she knew Brandon. I mean, she called the name. I couldn't remember the name,
He's a
but
good guy.
when I told her about the park project, and I told her, a city official, she said, well, was his name Brandon Ellington? And I said, that was his name. That was his name. I'm not familiar with him. I don't know him, ain't met him personally, but that type of move is to be commended. We don't know that Brandon Ellington may ever see a video like this, you know what I mean? We in the lower level, we in the gutter down here. But if he ever did, or if anybody ever seen it that knew him, they could let him know that that move that he did to put his hand to the plow and help the brothers with this part, that was to be commended. And so, but if you had the opportunity to say anything, because they are brothers and sisters,
That's right.
they are brothers and sisters that are elected officials over these districts here in Kansas City, where we have grown up in. So if you had anything that you could say that you would want to say to them, if it just by happenstance, they might happen to stumble across the video, you know what I mean?
Right.
If it was anything that you want to say to our elected officials in light of what could be done, what should be done, what's not being done, or some of the things that we would just simply like to see done. We know we don't expect these elected officials
miracles,
to be perfect. We don't expect that, because they can do no more than they are allowed to do. You know what I mean? But we want to make sure that our brothers and sisters that get elected, that they do the very best that they can to represent the people that they're supposed to represent. And many times they are systematically find a way to entrap or ensnare our elected officials through greed in some kind of way, end up putting a blot on them. So if there's anything that you had to say to any of them brothers and sisters, what would
Well,
it be?
first of all, like you said, back to Brandon Ellington, I want to thank him for the help that he that he did for us. He didn't have to do that. He made some phone calls for us. We had some problems and some issues removing some debris that has overgrown in the park for like 20 years, and so we was able to get that out of here and move forward with that project. So my hat's off to him. But if there was one thing that I could say as far as the elected officials, one of the main things I would say is get up off your ass and come and visit your community. Come and talk to your people. I mean, don't be afraid. You grew up here. I mean, most of the officials that I see, it's like once they get elected and they get into the positions, they forget where they come from. They don't come back to visit. We need more recreational facilities. We need more parks. We need more things for kids to do. We need more. We need our elderly taken care of a little bit more better. There's just a lot of things that are going on within our community that we can do locally. It doesn't have to be statewide. Let's do something locally. Let's turn Kansas City around. I mean, we're like number 3 as far as homicides in the world. I mean, we have so many issues, and nobody can come up with a solution. That's because they don't take time to come into the community to talk to people.
That's right.
And see what's going on and help them when they need it. So mental health issues. They need to get on that. We're talking about the riots and things like that. I understand that people want money, people want jobs, people want things like that. But my thing is, we need more than that. I mean, those things are petty considered to the thing. We need people to be helped with people have mental health issues out here.
Mm-hmm.
We need to get that addressed. We need to get housing. People need places to live. People are homeless. That's why people are struggling and starving out here. And so the money that they did give, the little $1,200 stimulus, after I paid, I got it, yeah, but after I got it, bam, I had to pay a bill, it was gone. I was back to broke again. So that's little things like that don't happen. We need major change. We need to quit settling for peanuts, because that's what they're trying to throw us. Here, we'll do this. Oh, we'll redo the police department. Oh, we'll do this. That's not what the issue is. It starts with the people. You need to select better people when you make them policemen and make sure they're community oriented and people that are not afraid to get out. So that's what I would do, fight for your rights.
And one of the things I noticed that one of the things that was going on a little while back, I'm not sure what the outcome was, but it used to be a time where in order to be a police officer in Kansas City, Missouri, you had to reside within the borders of Kansas City, Missouri. You couldn't live in Lee Summit and then be a police officer in Kansas City, or go and live in Raytown and then come here and police. But I'm not even thinking about the police. But I just want to say that again to our where our elected officials go, is that is a wonderful thing, because man, listen, you lose contact with the very people that you're supposed to represent.
People that put
and
you
you
in
know
office.
what? And see, the thing is that our hood, our neighborhood, have been given such a bad name. But the bad name don't really come from the neighborhood. The bad name comes from those that are outside of the neighborhood. How are you going to despise or call something ghetto that you came from? Everything that you came from this, you know what I'm saying? Or it's like this, even if you were raised in the suburb and you had an advantage to go to college and to do all of these things, and then you chose to represent the community or the neighborhood. How in the world can you represent somebody that you cannot identify with? This is one of the problems that I have with our Euros. You see, you can never represent, you can never be a spokesperson, you can never even have an opinion, because you can't identify with the life that we have lived. Only people that can identify with the life that we have lived is us. But see, now you look at this. Now check this here out. Let me turn this camera around for a minute. Now here you got two of us. We
Put my
grew
fix my
up.
headband. Y'all done tell me my headband
That's
was
all
all
right. You
messed
all
up.
right?
Sorry.
We grow up in the neighborhood, right? Now, I am what they call an uneducated man. Okay? I dropped out of high school, right? Now, as I got grown, you know what I mean, I still managed to navigate through life and create some wonderful opportunities, and then being self-employed and working for myself throughout all of those years. But now here, if I try to go to represent my community that I come from, you see, the first thing that will happen is that it would be discredited, because you got all of these different loopholes and these false standards that you ain't lived up. So I always felt like, the educational system was not educational.
No.
It was indoctrination.
That is.
And so the greater your education, the greater your indoctrination.
That's right.
I believe that this is one of the things that happened to many of our elected officials.
That's right.
They think they have education, but what it is that the more education you have, the greater your indoctrination is. The greater your indoctrination is, the less likely you are to return from where you come from.
That's right.
Because you lose the ability to have the same mindset or to share the same perspectives with those people that you say that you're going to represent.
And it goes back to programming, because because you can't be an elected official, to me, and get in there and go gung ho and do what you want to do.
Okay.
There's some things, there's some people that are going to be in your way, and you're going to have to be on the same page with them, with the same policies that they have, in order for you to be successful in what you do, or it's not going to happen. So basically, we're putting people in office that are not really representing us at all. They're representing the bigger establishment on pushing policies that's going to change the world in the future for their benefit.
And then we'll give you a nugget in the process.
That's right, because that's all we're going to get.
So those earmark type of deals, okay, well, we'll pass it, but it got 30 other things attached to it, and your initial thing. So what I'm saying is that to our brothers and sisters, that we understand that this is how this system operates. And we know that you're not a magician. We know that you can't just do all the things that you would desire to do. The only thing that we would like to see is we would like to see brothers and sisters to go in there. If you don't go in there but with one thing to focus on, and come hell or high water, this is going to be my legacy in my office.
That's right.
And I don't care. For the bulk of my time, it may take me 3 years, or it may take the full term of my office in order for this thing to come to fruition. But that is where my focus is going to be. And I'm not going to lose sight of that no matter what happened. All of the little bitty things that can be done in the process will be helpful, But I think one of those main things, it's a wonderful thing, We see the mayor go down there there on the plaza when they was rioting and talking on TV. Man, what a wonderful thing it would be to see that limo pull up in 27th Street Park during the Father's Day, or when we was having a thing, or even what a wonderful thing it would be for our own. It would be to see the mayor, who is one of our own people.
That's right.
It would be, you know what?
And I know
it would
him
be
personally.
a wonderful thing to see somebody that have elevated to that type of status show that type of concern. Hey, I'm not going to be afraid of my own people. Hey, I don't have no enemies down there. Hey, those are my, you know what, see, when we get brothers that's in positions like that, that's what we're going to need to turn these young pistol-toting jokers around. Because they need something to identify with.
That's right.
The problem is that our brothers and sisters get into these places and they get surrounded by all of these other people. And then they are turned off by their own, and they don't understand. You killing yourself.
Yeah.
You see, you're killing
That's exactly
yourself.
what I was gonna say.
How can you be turned off by your own people, the people that you say that you represent? Now, I'm not concerned about. I mean, you're supposed to be on the plaza because you're the mayor. You're lording over everything. You're lording over the police. You're lording over the whole city thing. But we always manage to get lost. The main important things, those are the people that's suffering, those are the impoverished people, those are the people that don't have jobs, those are the people, you know what I'm saying, that's going through things. And man, it would be a wonderful thing, man, to see some of our elected officials, you know what I'm saying,
it's not
just
gonna happen.
combing through the hood.
It's not going to happen. That's not going to happen. The reason why I say that, because it goes back to what I was saying at first. When we put them in office, sure, we get them in there, especially locally. That's when your vote counts, too, locally. When you vote for the president, me personally, my vote doesn't count. The Electoral College puts those people in, and the politicians, your governors, your senators, they select people to cast a vote, whether it be Democrat or Republican. So that's not your vote. Your vote only accounts for the popular vote. And so when they go back to the popular vote, then my vote will count. But it doesn't make any sense.
Yeah.
So but like I said, they're not going to show up, because once they get in office, then the bigger picture is going to emerge. Okay, now you're going to have to go by our blueprint.
Right.
We got you here. We helped you get here because somebody helped them get there. They didn't get there on their own just because just because they stood out in the crowd. Somebody from, I'm going to say the Europeans, higher upper echelons, took a liking and got you in office. So now you have to do basically what they tell you to do. You know what I mean? And so they're going to dictate basically how you run your policy when it comes to the community. That's why nothing's down here, because they rather, especially here for Kansas City, I know, Kansas City and North Kansas City are basically one city. But they spend all the money up North Kansas City where all the rich people live. Right. They don't put nothing up here. They building bridges and new houses and new townhomes and
power rails. Trains and trolleys downtown, and so that just blows me away.
It's a farce. It's a farce. It's a farce.
You know what's
this whole government thing. Don't get me wrong. We need some type of control or some type of people to kind of help guide people in the right direction. Things like that.
Let me ask you a question. You think I can get in office without a high school diploma?
You should be able to, because it's not a requirement.
No, it ain't a requirement, but boy, they can whip you to death with that news
I'm telling
media.
you. Oh, they all work together. The media, the politicians, it's all a big. I'm telling you, it's all a big conspiracy.
Boy, if I was down there, I'd be coming to work with my hand cocked, ace deuce like a mug. Now, I'm gonna tell you something. Now, this is a bittersweet pill. This is a double-edged sword. We had an elected official when I had my first beauty shop down on 18th Divine in the Lincoln Building.
Okay, I remember that.
Now, it was always stuff happening. You had Buck O'Neill,
right,
the Negro Leagues, and then there was still a few more of them living. And then every other week, you understand, they would be down in the Lincoln Building, the TV news be there and all that. A couple of times the news came up in the shop, you know what I mean?
Okay.
I remember when 41 first changed to Fox, they came in the beauty shop and we made a commercial in there, you know what I mean? But it was always surrounded by, the upper scale people,
right?
You know what I mean? And I just say to myself, man, dang, Carlos, I said, man, you know what? If you had the opportunity to go and get in office, it's like, boy, I said the first thing, boy, They don't want to see that.
No.
Man, I be coming through there with my hat cocked, ace deuce. I
Yeah.
mean, real.
Yeah.
I mean, I got all the sense in the world. I know what I'm shooting for.
Right, right.
So you can say what you want, but I know what I'm shooting for. I know what the need is in the community, and
That's
I know
right.
what people need. I don't pretend to be perfect, and I ain't gonna pretend to be perfect for nobody else. It's my imperfections, it's our imperfections that helps us to be able to identify with
Right.
the people that we say that we're representing.
That's right.
We can feel that pain because we done been through that
Yeah.
pain ourselves. You know what I mean? But we see even all these things that we done went over, there would be no solution to the problem. You know the only solution to the problem is if the police won't help you, if the community leaders won't help you, if the city officials won't help you, if your elected representatives won't help you, where your help gonna come from?
Shoot. Each other.
That's it. That's it. It's gonna have to come. It's gonna have to come from each other. That's the only way. That's the only way. Ain't no other way.
It's us against them, and people don't realize that. If you don't have no money, you ain't shit. I don't care what color you are. You ain't shit. I don't care if you white, Chinese, Russian. If you don't have no money, you ain't shit. You ain't gonna make it. This shit's gonna come crashing down. I'm telling you, the American economy, the American dream, there's no such thing as an American dream. The American dream has gone
The
away.
American dream is a nightmare.
It's a nightmare. It's not a dream.
Hey, but you know what? Us that's down here on the bottom, we gonna be watching them fall.
Yeah.
We're gonna be watching them fall. And that's all it is.
Just wake
to it.
up, people.
Yeah.
That's all I can tell you is wake up, because the wool has been pulled over your eyes for years, and people don't realize that. That when they did the money system, we used to have the gold standard where money was worth something. We don't have no standard. Money is just printed on just regular paper, and they can just print that anytime they want. Oh, when they did the stimulus, everybody got that $1,200. They had to print that much money. So when you continue to print more money, the value of the money goes down. The value of the dollar goes down.
Yeah.
And so people are still hurting. They're going to have to do the same thing. It's going to crash.
It's a wrap, man.
It's got to be another monetary system.
It's a wrap, man. So man.
Get ready for the market of beast, because it's coming.
I got one more thing I got one more thing I want you to speak on, all right? I want you like to say something to your young brothers, to our young brothers, you know what I'm saying, that's out here acting a fool or whatnot. You know, we know it ain't their fault.
Right.
We know that all these things had to be blamed on the previous generation. You understand what I'm saying?
Right.
That at some point we got to be able to identify with the fact that we failed the next generation by not living up to the standard that was set for us. But if you had to say anything to encourage your young brothers to try to help them do some turning around, what would you say?
Dude, I mean, get closer to God. You know, pray. And I mean, you know, sure, things ain't gonna work overnight. You gotta work at it. You know, I mean, just like going to school. When your parents used to make you get up and go to school every day, then eventually you graduated. You're like, oh, okay. Is that what it was? It's the same thing. You have to put yourself in positions to do better. Stay away from negative people. Negative people bring you down. Sure, they might be your friends, it might be your family members. Sometimes you gotta kick them to the curb. You know what I mean? To get yourself together. Because what good is it for you to help somebody else if you can't help yourself? I'm no good to you if I can't help myself. So we need to help one another, and it starts with the family. Parents, whether they're there or not, grandparents, aunties, uncles, whoever's there helping take care of the kids, you just got to keep talking to them, because that's what kids need. It's like parents just, once the kids start doing something, they just throw them out into the streets. My grandmother always taught me, keep talking. I said, Grandmother, I'm tired of talking to these kids. Just keep talking to them. Just keep talking to them. And that's what I do. And that's the only thing you can do. Keep talking and praying. And family, you know, you got to stick with them. You know, regardless of what they do, to still your family. You know, they need guidance.
Well, that's what's up. Well, y'all done heard it. I come straight live from the hood. It's me and my childhood comrade, you know, me and Carlos Colston. But yeah, that's so. We're gonna work on it. We're gonna keep working on it. And you know what? We ain't the only ones, because in every city, in every state in this country, it is the same identical thing. And just the same way that it could start in one city, sagging could start in one city and spread in every city all over the country. Wearing a bandana, a gang, all those things. When we start doing something right, it has the capacity to spread from one city to the next, But it's gonna start, gotta start somewhere.
Black lives matter. All lives matter. The point is, they just kill more black people. So we got to get that taken care of.
Oh yeah, like since you said that, let me tell you this thing. This dude posted on Facebook. He said, when a black person get killed by a white person, Black Lives Matter. When a black person kill another person, Oh, niggas die every day. They kill each other every day. You know what I'm saying? So black lives had to start mattering to black people.
That's right.
You see,
That's
black
right.
lives had to start mattering to us. Don't tell me black lives matter to everybody else. And you got Europeans out there in the crowd marching with people behind this, but then you go back to your neighborhood and you don't give a damn about the shootout that just happened down the street. Where the protest for that at? Peace out.